Hello super friends and welcome to DC TV Talk. This is the show where we talk all things Supergirl, The Flash, Legends of Tomorrow, Arrow and Black Lightning. And in today's video we're going to be discussing an upcoming episode of Season 6 of Arrow and the reason why all these things could be happening. So let's discuss. So if you are up to date with kind of the behind the scenes stuff that goes on with Arrow and the DC TV shows, you would have recently in the past few weeks would have seen Stephen Amell himself on Twitter posting a lot of photos of himself referencing the past of Arrow. We saw a few different photos that hint at loads of different things, and there's also been a couple of people spotted on set of Arrow and also spotted within Vancouver that hint that a couple of characters could be returning to Arrow this season, but we have never really understood why or how any of these things are happening. So if you don't know what I mean, Stephen Amell on Twitter had posted photos of himself in the Green Arrow suit from Season 4 and also the Arrow suit from Seasons 1 to 3. And we also had heard rumours of James Sheridan, who plays Robert Queen, being spotted in Vancouver, as well as Josh Segarra, who plays Adrian Chase, also being spotted on set in Vancouver. So this all kind of hinted towards this big flashback episode. However, Stephen Amell did come out officially on the record and say, hey, look, none of these things that are happening, it's not flashbacks. Because we all assumed it was flashbacks because, of course, Arrow being Arrow, we all thought, well, yeah, flashbacks is kind of a huge part of this show. Of course it's going to be flashbacks. But it is not flashbacks. It's been confirmed by Stephen himself. So we were kind of thinking to ourselves, well, how is this thing happening? How is this whole storyline going to be occurring if it's not flashbacks? But in the most recent episode of Arrow, episode 616, which was otherwise entitled The Thanatos Guild, we have now it's pretty much been confirmed why Oliver is going to be experiencing these blasts from the past. So in episode 16, otherwise entitled The Thanatos Guild, we find out, thanks to Dinah Drake and Curtis Holt, that Ricardo Diaz is actually selling Vertigo. Now, if you don't remember what Vertigo is a drug that was very heavily involved in Arrow Season 1 and Season 2. It is a drug that basically is a hallucinogen. So basically, if you take it, it causes you to hallucinate out your head and just brings back all kinds of memories and makes you just completely off your head. And that is what Vertigo does. It's a very powerful, very dangerous drug that was a very big plot point, especially in Arrow Season 1. And of course, Ricardo Diaz, who is now the main villain of Arrow Season 6, he is a massive drug dealer. He has this massive drug cartel and big criminal cartel inside of Star City. Of course, we know he does have fingers in many different pies, and we know that he has corrupted many of the Starling City or Star City Police Department. So one of the things that is within his massive crime ring is the fact he is now selling Vertigo. Now, we all thought it was going to be some random new drug, but it turns out he was actually selling Vertigo. And because Vertigo is a hallucinogen, we can assume from that he is going to be somehow getting this drug to Oliver, and this is how Oliver starts hallucinating and seeing all these things from the past. So let's go through the photos that Stephen posted. So the first one we see here is Oliver with his Season 1 to 3 suit. So this is the one that he obviously wore from Seasons 1 to Season 3. This is the one that Yao Fei had. This is the kind of, the one that he kind of took Yao Fei's design and made his own. And it's very interesting to see this. We also see he has a walking stick of some kind. I don't know if that's just, him messing around with a prop or whatever, but I think it's very cool to see this suit. I'm a big fan of this suit. I really have always enjoyed seeing this suit. I think it's just a really cool design. It's a very rough, very rugged look. It really fit well with like the tone of Season 1, 2, and 3. I think it works really well there. And I think that seeing this suit come back is something that I'm very much excited about. And it's interesting. I don't know what we'll perhaps see him do in this suit. Will we see flashbacks of some kind to Seasons 1 to 3, or will we see him, meet some other characters from Seasons 1 to 3? It's a very interesting idea to see where we're going to be going with this, but I'm very excited just to see Oliver get back into this suit again, and just to see what storylines this could bring up, what plot points we could be seeing, and what characters we could be seeing. Stephen Amell also posted a photo of him inside of the suit from Season 4. So this is very similar to the suit he has now, which is his Season 5, Season 6 suit, except of course it doesn't have the sleeves. This is one where his arms are exposed. And this is a very cool suit design. I actually really love this design. It's not my favourite suit, it's probably my second favourite, but I really do like it. Like, I have the Pop Funko of this one. I mean, they haven't actually released a Season 5 one yet. Come on, Pop, you need to get on it. But I really like this design, and it's really interesting that they're actually going back to this. Like, this is actually quite, this is quite troubled water, because obviously season 4, very controversial season of Arrow, very divisive season of Arrow. Most fans did not enjoy what season 4 brought to the table. But I am interested to see, again, what kind of storyline they go with this, what kind of plot points they bring up, what characters we'll see. Will we see Neil McDonough show up as Damien Dark? That'd be very cool. I imagine they could get Neil McDonough onto the show for an episode, because obviously he will be in Vancouver anyway, filming Legends, so he should be available just to do like one quick cameo scene if they wanted to get him back for a scene as Damien Dark. That would be very cool. You know, I don't know what they would do with this in terms of other storylines. Like, will we see, maybe we'll see Laurel show up as the Black Canary? That could be a possibility, because of course Katie Cassidy is on Arrow at the moment playing Black Siren, so she could easily, you know, just become Black Canary again for an episode. That could be very cool. I don't know. It's very interesting to see where they go with this, and I'm interested to see, you know, these season 4 kind of flashbacks, because season 4, again, very controversial season of Arrow, and they've always tried to drop season 4 as much as possible. So it'd be interesting that they're actually going back to that. Now, in terms of characters that could be showing up, as I mentioned at the start, James Sheridan, who played Robert Queen, who's of course Oliver Queen's father, and the whole reason Oliver became a vigilante in the first place, he was spotted in Vancouver, which a lot of people have inferred perhaps he's going to be in Arrow this episode. This would definitely be very cool, because obviously we know that Oliver has such a close connection with his father, even though he's dead. You know, the whole reason that Oliver went on this whole crusade and the whole vigilante thing was because it was his father's dying wish to right his wrongs. And it'd be very appropriate in that sense to have Robert Queen come back for this episode, you know, especially because if you look like this week's episode of Arrow, where he was very much, you know, kind of being conflicted about the whole Green Arrow thing again, and he was kind of thinking, you know, I did this to right my father's wrongs. It's kind of appropriate to kind of bring back Robert Queen if they wanted to. And this is a good way to bring Robert Queen back in a way that makes sense without just, you know, bringing him back to life, which I really don't want to happen, because I hate it when they just bring characters back to life. I hate that with a passion. So it'd be really nice just to use this to actually bring back Robert Queen just for one cameo scene maybe. Or maybe he's going to be like in Oliver's ear the entire time. I don't know. It'd just be a cool way to see him come back. And I really like James Sheridan in the role, so I really want to see Robert Queen come back in some capacity. And the other person spotted in Vancouver and supposedly spotted on the set of Arrow is Josh Segarra, who I absolutely adore. Josh Segarra played Adrian Chase, aka Prometheus, in Arrow Season 5. He was, of course, the main villain of Arrow Season 5. And he was, of course, the biggest, baddest villain I think Oliver has ever had to go up against. He was so fantastic. You know, he's one of my favourite characters in Arrow of all time. I think Josh Segarra just nails the role. And I think he was so cool because he was actually the villain who managed to break Oliver down to the core. And I'm very excited to see him come back, because if you think about it, probably one of Oliver's biggest fears would be Prometheus coming back, because of how dangerous and how brutal he was to Oliver. To actually see him come back and take some kind of form of resurrection would be a big fear for Oliver, you know, because he was mental enough as it is. So to him to come back and carry the demons in that sense would make him even more insane. Now again, we don't know what kind of story we're going to be getting with him. We don't know where he's actually going to show up. It's very cool though, in the sense that we might actually be getting new scenes with Adrian Chase, not just cuts from Season 5. Plus, this does basically confirm that we will be getting Season 5 flashbacks too, which is very awesome indeed, because obviously, based on the suits, we know we're going to be getting Seasons 1 to 4, but with Adrian Chase in play, we also know we're going to be getting Season 5, so that's very cool. And I am just so excited and so happy to see Adrian Chase back on Arrow again in a way that makes sense without just bringing him back to life. So I'm really happy about that. Josh Segarra is one of my favourite actors in the history of Arrow. I think he's amazing. And to see him come back is just a joy. So what do you guys think about all of these photos that Steven's been teasing? What do you think he's actually got going on in this episode? Do you think it's Vertigo? I think it most likely is Vertigo. I just think it's got to be, you know, it's been set up now, and it's a way that perfectly makes sense to have all these kind of flashbacks without actually being flashbacks. I think it makes perfect sense, and it's just a great way and a really intelligent way in the story to actually bring back some of these things that we haven't seen in a long time, such as Robert Queen, Adrian Chase, and all the different suits, potentially Damien Dark coming back. You know, I think it's a really cool idea to actually see all this stuff come back in a way that makes sense, and I am very excited for this episode. We've got one more episode to get through before we get to this one. This is episode 618 that we're talking about. We have got 617 next week, which is Brothers in Arms, which has that Oliver Diggle conflict, and then after that we've got this episode, which should be a very exciting one and a very good one for fans. But tell me what you guys think about it in the comment section down below. So thank you guys for watching this episode of DC TV Talk. If you enjoyed it, please give it a like, it'll help me out a lot, and share this video with anyone and everyone you know who loves DC TV and get them to join the community. And as always guys, please subscribe for all of your latest content on Supergirl, The Flash, Legends of Tomorrow, Arrow and Black Lightning. And with all that said guys, I hope to see you again in my next video.